Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. Well, a young man that I was pleased to present with a Marty Award when I was president of the Mississauga Arts Council has made it huge, and he's coming to Toronto next week to be the principal guest trumpet at the Toronto Symphony Orchestra. This man got an opportunity to go to New York and study at Juilliard and got his master's of music there. And now he is the principal trumpet at the Nashville Symphony, winning that job at the young age of 21 years old. And now he's coming back to Toronto to be guest trumpetist. William Leathers, I got to listen to you at Christmas concerts at Portico, at Mississauga Arts Council events. And I went down and saw you, I think, at the Jazz Bistro downtown Toronto perform. What a career that you've had, and you're only in your 20s. Unbelievable. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel really, really lucky every day.
What was it like going to Juilliard? Like, there's movies that have been written and TV shows about Juilliard.
Well, it was a phenomenal opportunity for me, to go there. I started there in the fall of 2018, and I was just so excited at the time to get to work with some of the greatest musicians in the world. Some of my teachers either are or were members of the New York Philharmonic, the Metropolitan Opera, the New York City Ballet, American Brass Quintet, all those amazing groups, and have amazing careers outside of those groups as well. And the thing about everyone who goes to Juilliard, everyone has everyone just seems to have an incredible amount of knowledge about at least one thing, something that I felt like I could always somehow benefit on. If I could just sit down with one of my colleagues at school and talk for a few hours, I felt like that was just one of the fastest ways I could learn. And I had a lot of fun, doing a lot of learning. And I got to get a lot of orchestral experience and learn about all sorts of music, even dive into collaborating with some of the dancers, some of the actors, um, getting to play a little jazz here and there, which was really cool for me since my dad is a jazz commercial trumpet player, and I grew up doing a little bit of what he does here and there, but I ended up doing the classical thing. So it was just a really fantastic, unique opportunity for me to attend the Juilliard School.
You told me once, I don't know, maybe it was 5 or 6 years ago, I can't remember now, that your dad was your best teacher. Did you find a better one in New York?
Well, I found the one that really helped me kind of propel me forward. You know what I mean? Like I had the opportunity to study with Chris Martin, who's principal trumpet in the New York Philharmonic, and Ray Mace, who was principal trumpet, the retired principal trumpet of the New York City Ballet and the American Brass Quintet. So I got to take a lot of technique and musicality from them uh, that I basically just piled on top of all the technical and musical things that my dad taught me it's everything my dad taught me is a very strong foundation that I still stand on today. Everything from my embouchure to the way I move everything inside my mouth, my air when I play the trumpet. So I basically took what my dad gave me and ran with it all the way to New York, and then just kept piling everything on that I could find.
When I used to watch you in those Christmas concerts at Portico, I always thought that your performance was great, but you always had something more. You had that it factor. You were a performer on stage, and people's eyes would go to you. One of my favorite artists right now is Chris Bodie, who is a trumpeter and does a lot of jazz music, and he's got it as well. He's like this magnet on stage. What is there something else other than just the technical ability that makes for a really good performer?
Well, Chris Bodie's one of my favorite artists too, and he's a guy who, along with listening to his albums, I'll watch his videos and see what he's doing on stage. And at the Nashville Symphony, we even had the opportunity to perform with him last, I want to say October, November, something like that. Yeah, last October, I believe. And so um, the beautiful thing about that show was that there wasn't very much to do in the section trumpet parts. So I essentially had one of the best seats in the house. Just got to sit at the back of the orchestra, play a few notes, put the horn down, and watch Chris go to work. Um, and when I was growing up, my dad also being a huge fan of Chris Bodie, as well as other great trumpet players who also have a lot of showmanship, like Doc Severinsen and Maynard Ferguson and all those other guys. Uh, my dad did a really good job of bringing my attention to people like that who really know how showbiz works. So I think that's just something that I was able to naturally learn from. And while I still feel like I'm miles away from looking as entertaining on stage as maybe Bodie or them, I I continue to learn from those artists every day.
Tell me how you got to Nashville.
Well, the in I want to say the winter of 2021, um, a lot of brass players, a lot of orchestra musicians in general who are looking to be employed in a major symphony orchestra somewhere will go online, check out the International Musician and see what auditions are coming up every now and then. So in the winter of 2021, I saw the audition for the principal trumpet position in the Nashville Symphony come up. And I'd already taken several auditions and learned more and more as I went along. So um, in February, on February 20th of 2022, I took the trip down from New York to Nashville to take the audition. Completely blind audition. February 20th, I played my preliminary round. So I basically sit behind the screen with all my equipment, trumpets, mouthpieces, mutes, and play everything I'm asked to play um, for a committee of 9 people who cannot see me. And so I advanced through the first round that day, and I was asked to return the following day on the Monday, the 21st, and played the semifinals round, was advanced to the finals. And then I played the finals also behind a screen, as well as the semifinals. And then after I was finished, the personnel manager um, came to the room with the candidates, including myself, and told me that I was being offered the position. And so following that, I got to meet the committee and the music director, and that's pretty much how that worked out.
Is it incredibly abnormal for someone of your age, just graduating from Juilliard, to get the first trumpet position with a major orchestra?
It doesn't happen too often. It's starting to happen more often these days, I think, and um, but it's definitely not easy to do. And well, I won't say it doesn't happen, and I won't say it doesn't happen very often, but it's um, I'd say for all of the music students who are graduating, um, it's a very small number of them that get a job like that out of school. I would say it that way, you know.
How many
So I
people? How many people competed for the position? Do you know?
uh if I were to guess, I'd say around 125 to 150 people.
125 to 150 people, really?
Right, yeah, that would have started in the preliminary round, cutting it down to around maybe 9 people in the semis, and so on and so forth.
Now, in Nashville, have you become a fan of country music?
Well, I hear it all the time, so it just kind of naturally grows on me. I already liked country music a little bit in the first place. It just wasn't a general habit of mine to be listening to it all the time. But now, if I want to go to the grocery store, it's completely unavoidable, which is definitely no problem for me. You know, I'll listen to it anytime.
Are there any? Is there any room for trumpets in country music?
Um, it doesn't seem like a lot of room has been made, but I think it definitely could be made. You know, and I mean, when country music artists come to the Nashville Symphony, There are usually some trumpet parts waiting for me and waiting for the rest of the section. So it does happen.
We're chatting tonight with William Leathers. He is from Mississauga. He went on to Juilliard to study trumpet. He's now the number one trumpet, the principal trumpeter at the Nashville Symphony. And he's coming back to Toronto this weekend because next week he's performing as the lead guest trumpeter at the Toronto Symphony Orchestra. What a great ride this young man has had, and what a great talent he is. We're going to take a break for some messages and be back in just 2 minutes with William Leathers. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. It's a real pleasure of mine tonight to meet again William Leathers. He is from Mississauga. I got to see him perform here a few times in different places and was always impressed with this young man. Gave him an award when I was president of the Mississauga Arts Council. And then he went on to far bigger things. He went on to Juilliard and got a master's in music, and then became the principal trumpeter at the Nashville Symphony, winning the job from 120 to 150 other competitors at only 21 years old. And you still, I understand, was still completing your master's at Juilliard. How did you work in New York, completing your master's, and work in Nashville with the symphony? How did you manage that?
Well, yeah, that's right. So my first season in the Nashville Symphony this past year, I was also busy completing my master's at the Juilliard School. So basically, I had previously been enrolled into the accelerated master's program at Juilliard. So by the time I had started at Nashville, I only had 3 academic courses to go, and I had to also find a way to get my orchestra credit covered and get my recital performed, and also do my performance jury as well. So the recital and jury, and also as well as lessons, that took a little bit of traveling back and forth. So I was able to do that whenever I was able to around my Nashville schedule. The Nashville Symphony job took care of the orchestra credit. I was able to work with the Dean of Academic Affairs to make that work. And for my academic courses, since I had 3 left to go, I did 3 theory courses with Dr. Wayne O'Quinn, the head of the ear training department at Juilliard. Did 3 theory courses with him. And what was cool about that was at the Nashville Symphony, we happened to be performing one of his organ concertos. We did that back in February of this year. So he finally came to Nashville, and he had a little bit of free time. So he was able to actually give me the one and only in-person class that I had, as well as one that I had when I happened to be in New York for a lesson. But it was just so nice to have him here to play his repertoire, and also take 3 of his classes and get one in person in my apartment complex as well. So it was very. And now the day of my graduation, that week we happen to be playing a Strauss program, including Death and Transfiguration and Till Eulenspiegel, the Merry Pranks one. So Thursday night I had to play a show. Friday morning I had to fly to New York, graduate, get my diploma, take one photo with my parents, hop on a plane, and get back to Nashville in time to play the 8 p.m. show. So that was a really fun one. And then my parents arrived in Nashville the next day to see the show on Saturday. So that was quite the eventful week to cap off my my studies at Juilliard while working with the Nashville Symphony.
Fantastic. And you're also with the Santa Fe Symphony, I understand?
The Santa Fe Opera. That's right. Yeah.
How do you do that?
So the Santa Fe Opera is it's a summer organization. So the Nashville Symphony runs from early September into mid-July, and the Santa Fe Opera runs from mid-June to late August. So what I do is I'm able to get out the last few weeks of the Nashville Symphony. That's which is a chunk of the summer season. So from there I go to Santa Fe, and I'm basically out there for a few months playing first trumpet on some opera music. So this past summer was my first season there. We played Puccini's Tosca, um, 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 Wagner's The Flying Dutchman, amongst other works. And it's an open air opera house, which is really cool. Although it invites all the elements that affect intonation and Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's a very dry climate there, so there's that to deal with as well. But the beautiful thing about it is, Santa Fe being the land of enchantment. Um, the the way the opera house is, it has a very unique way of blending the open back wall um, into nature basically. So you see the entire opera set that's there, and then you just see the desert in the distance, which is really really cool. And and the orchestra plays in the pit underneath the stage, and it's just a really really great time there. And everyone there is very very nice. There are even several members of the Toronto Symphony that go to play in the Santa Fe Opera every summer.
Oh, really?
So it's really nice to connect with some of the musicians that I grew up watching as well.
And what are you going to be playing with the Toronto Symphony next week?
So with the Toronto Symphony, the main piece that I'm going to be on is Scriabin's Poem of Ecstasy.
Poem of Ecstasy.
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic.
And so that's the name that he gave to his. I believe that would be his fourth symphony. So and that's a pretty big, heavy trumpet part. It's sort of featured. It doesn't get too exposed too much throughout the piece, but it's quite a bit of loud playing, and along with some lyrical playing as well. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
And how did they reach out to you? Why is this a special honor for you to come back and do this?
It's definitely a special honor for me, growing up, seeing watching the Toronto Symphony, and they just happen this year. They just happen to be in need of having some first trumpet players come in. Andrew McCandless, who's been there for a long time, the legendary trumpet player. He's working on moving on to being the professor at the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York. So this year, um, he won't be around in Toronto every week. So the Toronto Symphony is in need of different first trumpets to come in. So um, being asked to participate was definitely a huge honor for me.
Fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to having you here. I'm going to have to see if I can still get tickets. It's going to be a run on tickets, I'm sure. And we're gonna try to play a piece from YouTube of one of your pieces. Set it up for us if you could.
Oh yeah, sure. So this is my arrangement of O Canada, actually, and I put this together back in I put together the original recording for my high school graduation back in 2017, but then I re-recorded it and remixed it a little bit too, and filmed a video for it in my aunt's backyard. And I put this video together basically dedicated to all the high school graduates in 2020 who weren't able to get a real graduation. So this was sort of my gift to them, essentially.
Well, that was just great. Thank you so much for that. Um, are you posting lots of things to YouTube or making other recordings that you offered an MP3? What was the MP3 of?
Oh, it was actually going to be that. I
That
wasn't sure if you wanted a video or a sound file.
okay. What about? Can we get you on Spotify or anything?
Um, Eventually, I'm actually working on an album right now. It's gonna be several different kinds of classical repertoire on that. It's going to be mostly trumpet and piano repertoire, and I'm also going to be the pianist on this album too. So I'll be recording both the trumpet and piano parts. Um, Something something I didn't happen to mention on here is that piano is my first instrument. I started that when I was 4, and then the trumpet came later.
Really?
So,
So you're a
that's right.
pianist as
Yeah,
well.
that's right. Yeah, and while I don't practice piano as much as I used to because of being a full-time trumpet player now, the piano my muscle memory on the piano is still pretty good. So the piano chops can come back when I practice enough.
Fantastic. And so, what are you going to play with this combined piano and trumpet? What type of music?
Well, the first piece is going to be trumpet alone, and that's a composition of mine called Five Pieces for Solo Trumpet, and several other repertoire. Steve Rouse of the Avatar, that's a piano and trumpet one. Honegger's Entrada, Desenclosed Incantación Fin et Danse, and several other. I'm also going to possibly include trumpet and harp piece on there. And so I'm really excited about putting the whole thing together and going through the whole process.
What a great career that you've launched. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
What accomplishments do you still want to meet?
Well, definitely this album is one of them. Complete that project. Um, I'm still looking to because part of the reason why I was able to attend the Juilliard School in the first place was because of the generosity of Canadians and people all over the world donating to a GoFundMe campaign that was started by a family friend of mine, Andre Demise. So that was what got me through my first 2 years of school. And so ever since then, I've always wanted to start a foundation of my own to help Canadian musicians get to and or essentially Canadians in general go to the school of their dreams and not be hindered by any sort of financial difficulties. So that's another long-term goal of mine.
If some young guy in high school came to you and said he wanted to be a famous member of a symphony, playing trumpet or trombone or violin or whatever, what would you say to him?
I would say, uh, firstly, doing all the practice and preparation is definitely key because failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And I would say go to all the auditions. Um, Never be the one to say when an audition comes up. Never be the one to say, there's no way I'm going to win that. There's no way I'm going to be off this position. I uh, I think the most important thing to do is just show up in the first place. You have no chance at all if you don't show up.
Miss 100% of the goals you don't shoot for. No question.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice spin
Okay.
on the great Wayne Gretzky's quote.
Exactly. So hard work, show up. Anything else?
um, do what you love and be proud of it. I cap it off with that.
Well, when I've seen you on stage, and I've only seen you a few times, but when I've seen you on stage, young man, you seem like you've got a ton of confidence, that you're enjoying yourself, that you're happy, and I do think you've got that it factor. You seem to just you know control that stage. People's eyes just gravitate to look at you. and listen to you. And so thank you very much for sharing your creativity, sharing your passion, sharing your abilities with the rest of the world, because it's wonderful. And good luck coming back to Toronto and performing with the Toronto Symphony. I hope I get to hear you.
Yeah, thanks so much, and thanks for the compliments too. It's very kind. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. So thank you.
William Leathers, a guy from Mississauga that I got the pleasure of hearing in a local church and at Arts Council events and downtown at bars, is now the principal trumpeter at the Nashville Symphony, plays with the Santa Fe Opera, and is coming back to Toronto next week to be the guest principal trumpeter with the Toronto Symphony. And what was the piece again? The Poem of Ecstasy?
Yeah, that's right. Poem of Ecstasy by
Fantastic.
Alexander
Sounds
Scriabin.
fascinating.
Yeah.
William Leathers, thanks so much.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break and come back with another story in just a minute. Stay with us, everybody.